What is the one skill that you think that every entrepreneur should have?
Entrepreneurs be very persistent with the end objective.
The big boom in digital happened when Jio launched its free services. Like people had access to internet.
That was like a turning point for a lot of things happening on digital.
I firmly believe that as a founder, you should know your market and your product more than anyone else.
Absolutely.
What do you mean by central communication?
It's all a funnel approach. I can keep spending on top of the funnel, but if I'm not having a consistent communication about myself being as a brand and what I stand for, probably a customer would not choose me.
One of the mistakes that I made earlier while I wanted to start anything, my earlier approach was that I would go to Coursera, I will look out for a course. Completely wrong approach. If I could rewind back and I could tell myself 5 years ago, start doing things, make mistakes, break things and learn to fix them fast.
Zomato, whenever it rains, it would send out a notification. Samosa and pakoras are waiting for you.
Those notifications are precisely made by... Hello everyone, my name is Poojan, Ajani and welcome to Strique Talks. On today's episode, we have a very special guest with us. He is the co-founder and CEO of ARM Worldwide, Manas Gulati.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, Manas, for coming on to this podcast.
My pleasure.
How are you?
Very, very good.
So tell us about yourself.
So my name is Manas and I'm the co-founder and CEO of ARM Worldwide. And we started the organization in 2013. So prior to that, I'll just give a brief background. I started my journey back in 2006, working for a company called Quasar Media, which got acquired by WPP later. Then, I worked with an ad network called Tyru, which was one of the first. Of course, we had GDN and some other ad networks, but Tyru was first of its kind, India-made organization, and is thriving very well right now as well. Post that, I thought that I should be studying because I did a small stint. And then I planned and I went to MICA, did a MICA Ahmedabad, did my PGBCM there, and a wonderful course recommended for all marketeers if you can possibly get there. And, it gives you all the wherewithal to become a great marketeer, be it media, be it branding and everything else. And fortunately for me, I have a lot of friends who are CMOs at a lot of places. And thanks to the network we've built at MICA. And so post MICA, of course, the recession had hit in 2009. So back in the day, I always wanted to be a marketeer working for a brand. But unfortunately, back in the day, when the recession hit, we had no options. So the best possible option, and which I'm very fortunate turned out to be nice for me, was to go back into digital. And so I joined Starcom Media West, worked on some very, very big brands like Samsung, Oracle, Aircel, and helped them grow from scratch because digital was still in a very nascent journey, and it helped me grow my skills, hone my skills, work with offline teams as well to understand, where the psyche is in terms of TV campaigns, radio, and otherwise as well. And with the advent of measurement and possibility to get measurable insights, when it came onto digital, I think digital was the way forward back then. And I was fortunate that by divine intervention, I went back to digital post my studies as well, because I had an ambition to start an organization of my own catering to various clients. I joined a startup in which we were 15 odd people, worked there for 3 years, helped establish the organization from 15 people to 300 people, worked there for 3 years, got the confidence that I would be able to drive the company forward, and of course with my co-founders, and take it to a place, had the confidence that I would be able to thrive, go out there, get more business, serve them well. And the psyche behind that as well was that, while we were working with bigger organizations, we had all set targets, to make the brands and marketeers spend more, but not, even if it's not relevant for them, and when we started the organization, me and my co-founders thought that, what we will keep as a USP is that we have to provide a solution to them. If it's a startup, You need to tell them that if spending only on the consideration set is enough, or spending on people who are in the consumer journey is enough, rather than just spending all over the place on awareness and splashing it there. So a good sniper targeted approach, in which that's actual solutioning, I would say. It's not that bigger organizations don't do that, but because I was working as an employee, and my targets were like that, you have to do a certain target year on year. So back of the mind, it was never the end objective of the client, but it was more of that how much billing you need to do, how much more you need to ask the client to spend, and all as well. So when we started as a very prudent organization, very honest organization as well. So if there's somebody who's starting from scratch, and we worked with various big brands like Gioni, Nearby, Amazfit as well, for whom like we were the first organization they worked for, while establishing themselves in India, and we were able to help them go through an entire journey. Not only like when they had lesser budgets, we would tell them that there are a lot of people in the consideration set, and the category is already built. So we would tell them, since the category is already built, we can ride the wave of the category, because other clients have already been spending, and make them a part of the consideration set, get them the effective ROI from those campaigns. And later on, when they got funding and when they became big, then of course you do a lot of awareness, not only on digital but on other platforms as well. So that was largely the psyche. And so in 2013 is when we started. It was like almost a planning of a year or so.
You still remember the day?
Of course, yeah. 15th of August 2013 is when I joined the organization. And, incidentally for me, throughout this journey, I had a lot of friends, whom we work with in the industry. And we'd always thought about coming together and doing something like this. So, my co-founder, Abhishek Punya as well, I met him through the industry as well. He was in a competitive organization, and many a times, we'd go against each other, for pitches. And I remember like us trying to outbid each other, whenever the pitch is happening about the rates, because it was mostly manual in nature, and the client would give us a, media plan, ask us to put the rates and how best we can negotiate. It was more of like a marketplace sort of a thing. And, but it came out very well. It was, all in good friendly banter as well. At a lot of times, good healthy competition happening. We would meet in the evenings at times as well, exploring as to if we could become entrepreneurs together. And good bunch of people around as well. And back in the day, there were also very few ad agencies. There were some independent agencies like Quasar Media. There was an independent agency like Interactive Avenues, and certain other bigger organizations like the big group organizations as well, who used to do TV and digital together. So there was a definite need gap of a specialized agency in media, and the other integrated services which digital had to offer. And we thought that it was the right time for us to get into it. And it's been a tremendous journey. Of course, there are highs and lows. Like we all know that there have been times when there have been depression in the market, and the business go down. Sometimes during COVID, when all the retail got shut, there was a huge setback for all of us. Because we were working with a lot of fashion brands and retail brands as well, and the market had chosen to stop spending. While a lot of categories boomed, but a lot of categories took a hit as well. But almost close to a year, that was an impact which we had as well. But it was all good. The highs and lows are part of the journey.
Exactly.
And we need to all just persevere and go ahead on, and take all the losses in our strides. And me and Abhishek, often talk that whenever we hire people, we hire people, a lot for their attitude, and how much can they persevere, how much can they not get bogged down by situations, because we also believe that failures definitely teach you a lot, and it always adds on if you're a sportsman as well. So we have in mind, if the person is a sportsman, I always have it in mind that that person would know how to lose as well gracefully, and also would have the potency to come back with all the vigor to win things as well. So some things really matter, and these are some of them. And I would say that from 2013 onwards, when we started, I'll talk about the industry as well, the way it moved ahead. Earlier, back in the day, bloggers and influencers were not so much onto the fore, but it was a very nascent journey for us.
I was just about to talk on that, because in 2013, because as a founder, I know that the big boom in digital happened when Jio launched its free services. Like, people had access to internet.
Correct.
Before that, they used to have broadband connections, because I had one. It was very difficult to get brands to tell them what is digital marketing and why you should spend on digital, because they had no clue.
Correct.
And even like after a few years, the brand managers or the marketing directors they were mostly traditional sort of those people. Like, we had a boarding over there, we did this, we spent so much money on that.
Absolutely.
Without absolutely zero clarity on what are the views or what the engagement or any KPIs whatsoever.
Correct.
So what was your task? Like, do you think that you had the first mover advantage to show them, like, if you are spending 1 crore over there or $500,000 on doing something like this, you can get so many reach and so much more potential on digital? Do you think that was the case earlier?
See, first of all, the reach wasn't as much, as late as 2018-17 when Jio came into the fore, and the entire telecom space got democratized. I think that was like a turning point for a lot of things happening on digital, with a mobile phone being in the hand of everyone, like be it a farmer or any worker anywhere, and be it tier 2, tier 3 cities, all of them, like everybody had a mobile phone. I remember the jump which YouTube views had when Jio started, like, one year into Jio started, it became multifold, like, maybe 10 times of what it was. And that was, I think, like the turning point for digital as well, Jio coming into the fore, and everybody having a phone in their hand, be it Instagram, be it YouTube, be it Facebook, or smaller, organizations like Mod, ShareChat, Josh, all of them like coming into the fore. I think that really helped. And we are reaping the benefits right now. We're getting a cut into the TV budgets as well. We're getting into the cut of other budgets as well. And I would also say, this is also more of because that there is real-time reporting happening on digital. Unlike, you put something on TV, look for a report on TRPs and other things, and the reach which GRPs which are created. So from that standpoint, for marketeers, it is much easy to make a more informed call, and I think that's how digital has been getting the lion's share of budget in most of the places.
So as a founder, I know that hiring is one of the most difficult challenges that you have.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So while looking at a marketer, how do you make sure that this is the right guy for this position? What are the things or the qualities that you look out for?
So 2-3 things like is what we look for. From an aptitude perspective, we definitely look at the depth of knowledge in the domain. How much has a person worked on brands who've not only worked on awareness but also otherwise, like for business conversion. We definitely look at the intent of the individual, because they're changing times, and we would want people to own up to things. So ownership is one big thing we would want to keep in mind while.
How do you test it out if he's ready for the ownership or not?
See, we talk about their lives. Where do they come from? What do they hail? What are their aspirations? Where do they want to be as well? And and many people would be people pleasers. They'll say, anything. So grilling them a little more to ask if they have clarity of thought. Also, one thing, not only while hiring, but I'm also a part of the admission panels of some colleges, especially my alma mater, MICA as well. we do make sure to ask that, if a person has a certain passion or not, if the person has a certain drive for a certain thing, like which they like apart from work also, like be it, they play cricket or are into art, or are into like, maybe they're creators, maybe they're photographers. I definitely feel that a person should have a passion of their own, a hobby of their own, which they pursue apart from work as well, because it adds on, like you get to know that if the person is intrigued by a certain thing and would pursue a certain thing if they really like it. So I think these are some of the things which we keep in mind while hiring people. And I more often than not it works, and you can't be 100% right all the time, because they're changing times, the situations are changing, the environment in and around is changing, the content people consume are changing, and many people get into a mode of self-analyzing a little bit more than they should. And we believe that it's a dynamic environment, so that's also fine. If a certain decision is bad, you can always work with them if they have a good intent to get them to do better.
So you have been an entrepreneur since almost 12 years now,
Yes.
right? During those 12 years, I believe you had the opportunity to work with clients across all the industries, let it be from Siemens or Bajaj Allianz or any of the Bajaj products, or anything, even from startups to corporates and MNCs, right? You have worked with entrepreneurs, you have worked with founders.
Yeah.
What is the one skill that you think that every entrepreneur should have, and what is the one skill that is like a make or break situation?
I think, entrepreneurs should be, very, very persistent with the end objective, what they have. And some of the bigger organizations, which we have worked with, especially Bajaj FinServe and a couple of other organizations, we've seen that the top down is very, very rigorous about the work which they do, right from the top boss to the team. All the culture is driven from the top. So, you'd know that, some people who are the business heads or the managing directors of of bigger organizations, they believe in rigorous reviews happening and being like, you can always say that you don't have to be hands-on when you're managing business. But people who have succeeded, they know their business in and out from ground up. The managing director would not think twice before asking anyone in the hierarchy of people a question which they think is pertinent, and ingraining it in them that this is what we are looking for. And I think, what we've seen is rigorous reviews, discipline of things, and the ability to anticipate anything which is possibly going wrong. This is what like bigger organizations always keep in mind, and I think they're thriving just because of that.
I totally agree with you as a founder. Like, I have seen so many organizations, especially startup, they just go out there and they think that since they own the product, they have built it from scratch. Could it be a physical or a tech product? That's their baby now. They get too attached over it and not giving it a thought that what other users might think about it.
Correct.
And any sort of a critical remark gets personally hit by them, and they said, okay, that is not okay, that is not my product is really good. And I think that the ability to understand the product and understand the user feedback, and most importantly understand what user actually wants, or the customers, what do they really want, is one of the things that actually makes or breaks the company.
No, absolutely. Like, as you said, that, while you're passionate about a certain thing, a certain product you're making, but if the market dynamics is changing completely, you need to be nimble and modest enough to accept that you're behind, in terms of the race, and the pivot needs to happen quickly. You can't be so passionate about something that, you leave the environment behind. And that's something you need to keep in mind and pivot very, very quickly in the changing times, because thing you might be thinking right now, maybe in the next 2 months it's out there in the market. So pivoting is very important. Being ahead of the race, being literate enough is very, very important. And one thing which we keep on saying to everyone which we meet, be it our employees or anybody whom I meet at the client side as well, that education is very, very important. You need to be a student all your life.
Exactly.
You need to keep on learning. Like when AI hit the market, and all the agencies were doing whatever they were doing, and most of us and my peers as well knew that it's time to pivot, get onto the AI bandwagon very, very quickly, and to understand the mechanics of how it works and how it should be implemented as well on a day-to-day work, like be it on creatives, be it on content writing as well, be it on media, and Google and Facebook have built up amazing AI engines for themselves, and for us as well, which would help us automate a lot of things, help us write the ad copies as well, help us recommend a lot of things as well, which only enables us overall. Of course, it doesn't take away the intervention we have to do basis that, but it has augmented a lot of accuracy. It has augmented a lot of discipline to what we do by giving us insights on a regular basis, and which is what has helped us in the long run.
Okay. So I really liked your point about the learning, which I wanted to discuss further a bit more, because I firmly believe that as a founder, you should know your market and your product more than anyone else.
Absolutely.
Right? And since I'm too young to read the books, I actually don't prefer books. Like, my preferred source of learning is YouTube and maybe some articles that are out there in the market. And one of the mistakes that I made earlier while I wanted to start anything, like let's say that if I want to start lead generation for my Strique AI, or if I want to, let's say, start a podcast studio, my earlier approach was that I would go on to Udemy, I would go to Coursera, I would go to EDX, I will look out for a course, and until and unless I don't finish that entire course, I won't take a single step of action.
Sure.
That was a completely wrong approach that I think that if I could rewind back and I could tell myself 5 years ago, I would say just go ahead and start doing things, make mistakes, break things, and learn to fix them fast.
Sure.
Because that's the main approach that you should take. I even today, like, I watch YouTube videos at 2x speed. I forward all the introduction part, all the ads, all the sponsored message. I just get to the content. I say, okay, that's it. This is how you're supposed to do. I have my information. I don't have to watch the rest of the video. I can start working on it. I can start with the future things and the next steps for the process.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the things that I wanted to add to it. And you mentioned that the AI part about Google ads and Facebook ads and all the other platforms, right? So can you tell me more about, like, do you use any third-party app on top of Google ads or Facebook ads that enable you to run an agency better? Could it be for your project management? Could it be for your finance, for reporting, or anything else?
So what has happened is that there are a lot of tools in the market, and we've looked at a lot of them. There are recommendation engines which are there. There are tools which can help us write ad copies as well. There are tools which can help us create creatives, do a good A/B testing everywhere else as well. But what has happened is to get everything at one place. I think that's like a big need gap, which is there. And some of the AI functions, of course, are available on Google and Facebook as well, in terms of creatives, like a creative studio, which is there, and in terms of recommendations for an ad copy, which is there. So currently we are using certain native AI capabilities of Google and on Meta as well. And but it's more than welcome to have something which is an integrated solution.
So that's when Strique comes into the picture.
Absolutely. If it can be seamlessly integrated end to end to whatever functions which we are doing, and if it's like all solutions at one place, I think it would be a tremendous offering in the market, and would really help bigger organizations aggregate everything at one place. In fact, like I'll just try to quote. So we've been building a business intelligence tool in which we've aggregated all media-led reports at one place, and basis whatever like campaigns, like previous campaigns and history of previous campaigns as well. We are trying to build up certain recommendations for future as well. So, but that's a media aggregation tool. It's not an AI tool as such. But if there is a possibility to integrate, because Strique AI is a wonderful thing which you're building with so many capabilities, if there are certain amount of integrations which can happen with whatever we are doing in terms of media, like for all our clients, I think it would be a more than welcome sort of a scenario.
Definitely. We'll discuss this after the podcast for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just to give our
Absolutely.
clients a context of what Strique does is that it basically connects with your Facebook ads, Google ads, and it gives you reports on the things that are actually important for your business. So we don't just go around and show them that this is the report, this is the data, this is the ad spends. We actually first ask for your goal. Is your goal lead generation? Is your goal brand awareness? Is your goal app installs? Or is your goal e-commerce?
Yeah.
Based on that, a lot of things will change accordingly. And what we have done is that we have partnered with so many agencies and we asked to send them the reports, obviously striking out the brand's name and actual data.
Hash data.
Hash data. So that we get that data and we actually see what are the things that the clients are asking for, what are the things that actually would make sense. And then we have our own analyst to sit on it and tell them that this is the wrong approach that you're taking and this is how you should fix it up.
Correct.
So instead of, let's say giving a chart of sessions by age and gender analytics. If I have to give you a classic example, this was one of the mistakes that I saw one of the agency owners or agency was making, is that they used to send the graph of saying that these are the male and these are the female users who are coming in onto your website.
Sure.
Now I told them that this is a skewed approach, because if you are setting as male on a targeting audience while you're creating your Facebook campaigns, if you are setting male in the ad set level that show my ads only to male in the specific region, you will get those male audiences onto your website. So there is no point in seeing this data. Instead of seeing the sessions, you are supposed to see the purchases of the e-commerce users who have actually made a purchase and get their gender analysis.
Correct.
Based on that, you should make the changes. So I was like, okay, this is a nice idea. I should add that as well.
Yeah.
So we take so many metrics. We have around 70 to 80 widgets. So from time-wise bifurcation, best performing days of the week, top performing browsers, best to worst performing campaigns, all of those things can be mapped to a certain source and can be seen in a one holistic view. So one of the examples that we saw was that the keywords that were used on the search for the search campaigns on Google Ads for that specific product worked really well on Amazon as well, because Amazon is also keyword driven. And what they did is that they took the keywords which were running very well on Google Ads and they filtered it based on the KPI that was important to them. So not the ones that got many clicks, but the ones that got many conversions.
Correct.
They got those keywords and they added it to Amazon ads and their revenue skyrocketed on Amazon because they were struggling with Amazon.
Correct.
So we have this interpolability, and what happens is that the data that you are seeing in, it is not for everyone. So it is not like one size fits for all. You have, if you are a founder, you have to see a holistic picture. If you are a campaign manager, you have to see all the campaigns that are working. And if you are a business analyst, you need to drill more into the reports and see the exact data on what are the things that you can do. As a founder, you might want to get some insights. As a business analyst, you might want to optimize the campaigns.
Right.
Based on your exact data, our AI will decide that, okay, these are the metrics that you have. Let me create a summary for you.
Correct.
Don't have to go through the entire report. You don't have to see like what are the new versus returning users. You're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Just tell me what I want to do.
Correct.
So the AI summary will tell you that, okay, based on the retention market and the money that you're spending on the retention campaigns, the returning users are very less compared to the ones that are coming in as new users. That means there is something wrong with the retention funnel, and maybe you should have a little bit of brainstorming session and how you can get more and more users to make repeat purchases, because that will significantly reduce your cost per purchase.
Absolutely.
In terms of e-commerce, obviously.
Wonderful.
In terms of lead generation, you might have something different, because the funnels and the events that you set up, could it be a single page form, people coming in onto the website, scroll down, fill the form, thank you, that's it.
Sure.
So that's a single page form. So how do you optimize that? So you look at events like thumb stop ratio. You look at events like the video views for the video that you had, how many people scroll down to your website,
Correct.
the user behavior, all of those things are important to you. So you get all those reports and you can create your own report as well. Then the AI summary takes care of everything for you.
Wonderful.
So you just have to, another example that I wanted to share was that people were getting certain products, they had a very high return rate as compared to others. Or let's say we have a chart or a widget for conversion rate versus browsers. So if your usual website conversion rate is 4%, and that's for Chrome, Firefox and other browsers, and it's 2% for Safari, that means the coding that is there on the website, the JavaScript code or the CSS code or the HTML element, is not being properly rendered onto your website. So it might be a wise idea to check your developer that if there is something wrong onto your website.
No, absolutely. I think
Yes.
the load time of each of
The
the
load
browsers would, really matter. And
Yes.
if all the functionalities are working as they're working in the best case scenario,
Exactly.
I think that's very, very important and
Yes.
very great insight on that.
So
And I think if it's that capability is there and real time, we can get that information.
you can
will
get
not
it
be,
real time.
It will not be a post facto diagnosis of something which went bad, but it'll be an on point real time diagnosis of things.
Yes.
I think it'll work really, really well.
So currently we have the PW as well. You can just install the app if you are on your mobile. If you want to check the data real time, we can do that as well.
Wonderful.
And you can see what are the things that are going wrong, and especially the brands that have huge ad spends. Then you need to have two people traditionally you need to have two people who are just monitoring things, and other is making reports, sending to the respective persons who are working on it. With help of Strique, you eliminate entirely. You just open the app on your tablet, on your mobile, on your laptop, and you see all the data live as of today, as of now. So you can make the decisions accordingly. If that campaign is spending more than it should, you can get to know about it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So those are the things that are part of Strique. Also, you can, let's say you want a PPT or a PDF, you can get it delivered on your WhatsApp at 9 a.m. every morning. You can set the frequency. I want a daily report, I want a weekly report, on your email address, on your Slack, on your SMS. Could it be anything? You tell us, we make a report for you. We have full customization. You can set up your logo, your colors, your fonts. Everything could be set up easily so that you get the report that you exactly want for your business. We also have templates for founders, campaign managers and business analysts, so that they can look at around specific data points.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So that was about Strique. Little bit of self-promotion. Yeah,
absolutely.
So like even I'm about just talking about the AI part in marketing. We have seen a lot of apps that are just backing on to ChatGPT or any other thing, and they are giving you with ad copies, right? Have you tried any, like, let's say an experiment where we go out and get 5 AI tools that are helping with the ad copy, and then we set up the KPI for CTR, that is, which are the campaigns that are giving us the highest CTR? Those are the best performing copies. And are those copies even repetitive? So let's say that if I am brand 1 who's selling shoes, and there is brand 2 selling t-shirts, are you giving me similar kind of copies? Is it even worth it? Have you done any sort of experiment with that, or how do you say that these are the best copies for the...
So for instance, like in the categories which we work in, which is also education or finance, like we do a lot of finance and we do a lot of FMCG products. We also do a lot of consumer durables and mobile phone brands. So for instance, on them, because the SKUs are not so much different. Like if it's a personal loan, it's a personal loan. If it's insurance, it's insurance. So what we've done is that, of course, we like there has been a erstwhile scenario in which we've always done A/B testing with things, and the best case scenario and the best ad which provides us the best CTR moves forward. I think that's something which has been done. And currently also we've tried out a couple of tools, like, in fact on ChatGPT also, something which helps us write ad copies for Google and some copies otherwise. We've tried that out. And of course, what we do is we try to say create 10 odd ad copies and optimize it and see which is the best case scenario in terms of CTR. Also, so for us, KPIs are very, very different, when it comes to performance campaigns. They're very, very different when it comes to awareness campaigns, when the objective is probably reach and creating those impressions and eyeballs and views for the videos. And many a times it's end conversion as well. So the KPIs keep varying. And, CTR, for instance, only can't be the, end objective of what we do on an ad campaign. Many a times it's the CPL and the cost per sale as well. So right now, like, the times have changed from what they were earlier. And since all this data is available on digital platforms, unlike earlier, so if you have to gauge a performance of a certain thing, it is gauged on everything. It can't be only gauged on a CTR, which might be, sort of a clickbaitish sort of a copy, uh, trying to get eyeballs and not having the eventual conversions happening, or not having the eventual business happening, or any action which possibly has been happening on the landing page or the app anywhere. So I think that is something which is consistently changing, and at that level, we haven't used one AI tool to do all this, but we have maybe chosen to work with the native tool on Google, and something which Meta recommends at times, sometimes on Chat GPT as well. So I'd say that we're ahead of the curve in terms of using things, but an aggregated whole definitely is something which might be a need gap in terms of providing us real-time insights into things. Right now, all this is happening on the native tools. So not only on that, like if I have to take, say, for instance, learnings out of what I do, like you said, that the keywords which work on Google will also work on Amazon, because it's part of the consumer journey. It's part of the pull marketing which is happening, in which consumers are searching for you. So all information, be it Google, be it Amazon, will be the same. But when it comes to push marketing, then it's a different ball game altogether. Then you have to look for the entire consumer funnel, right from awareness, then interest, desire, action, and also advocacy post that. That's when, and I had a very beautiful discussion on Monday, like, in one of the events I was talking, is that, one of the panelists was saying that one central communication is all it takes to, get through all of media. And I have a very, different view to that,
What do you mean by central communication?
Like a central communication for the brand, which probably is to make people aware of things, and also the choice of mediums, for instance, on TV. So the communication which goes on TV and the communication which goes on digital needs to be the same completely. I think from a brand positioning and from a brand guidelines perspective, it has to be on the same line. But communication needs to be different for a user who does not know my brand. It needs to be different from a consumer who is well versed with the category but probably hasn't explored my brand.
Exactly.
And it has to be completely different from somebody who's into the fold. And I'm reaching out to my present customer. I can't be going back to the customer, my own customer, again and again with the same communication, because that will take people aback as well. You need to be innovative in the way you communicate with your native customer, like captive audience. You need to be different in terms of communication to the prospective customer, who probably might be in a consumer journey, which is like interest and desire, might not be brand disposed by then. You might want to give them some motivation to convert for your brand and not for somebody else. And very, very different for somebody who's not even in the consumer journey. You just have to be on top of mind for them and resonate with them again and again, not only just about your brand, but certain consumer passion points as well. So I think it is very, very important. And a tool like an AI tool will definitely help me map that consumer journey through and through for all my consumer sets, and probably customize things for them so that it benefits the brand in terms of business conversions eventually, because it's all a funnel approach. I can keep spending on top of the funnel, but if I'm not having a consistent communication about myself being as a brand and what I stand for, probably a customer would not choose me, as opposed to somebody who's been not only talking about his brand but also is resonating with the customer. I love to give an example of Zomato, that whenever it rains, it would send out a notification when it says that samosas and pakoras are waiting for you. And it's like such a trigger for me. Like, I would want to do something like
those notifications are precisely made by Dipender Goyal himself. He's the one who's managing all those notifications.
It's such a nice thing, when it happens, and the way they've marketed themselves, they have a different, communication altogether, which I think is very, very admirable. Like, the way they congratulated Swiggy, for instance, on their IPO. It's a difference in the communication and the way you're resonating with the customer. There's a certain amount of compassion in it. There's a certain amount of camaraderie in the entire thing. And I think if the ecosystem of AI is able to tap that as well, which is very emotive otherwise, and people are creating such sort of content which is going online like that, I think it really, really helps, from that perspective. And you can't be creating so many consumer journeys and so many narratives like sitting on a laptop working like that. And you definitely need assistance from an AI tool to create those communications. And that is, I'm a firm believer that AI tools will definitely help in writing and writing really, really good narratives for each of our customers.
Like I had a one question. Like you mentioned that the channels that includes TV, might include newspaper or boardings or offline. How do you make sure you are targeting the right person when the channel/medium on which you are advertising does not give you the ability to pinpoint certain target users? Example, if you are saying that I want to create a thank you message just to thank all the people who have made a purchase in past, how will that message or that communication or an ad can be sent via TV channel or newspaper, because you don't have the option to pinpoint those cases? In that scenario, would you rather just stick to Facebook and Google ads or Snapchat and TikTok where you have this option, or will you say that okay, let's make it a little bit more generic to people and then send it across to TV and hoardings and other things?
So if I'm trying to understand this question better, you're talking about a one-way communication, and on the other hand, you're talking about a communication which is more interactive.
No, like you mentioned that the people who are part of the user journey, someone who doesn't know your organization,
Correct.
someone who knows your organization but haven't purchased, and the people who have purchased the product, all of them needs to have separate communication, separate advertisement or ad sends to them, right? Now, how would that be the case if you're using TV? How would people know that I have purchased, this is my separate communication for me or something like that? Or would you just say that in that case, if you are going with traditional sorts of marketing where you don't have the ability to make those segregations or segments in the audience, then instead of making targeted ads for that people, we make a generic one and push it out to there and stick to the platforms like Facebook and Google that have the ability to make segmentations and push those ads onto these platforms only?
See, that's the beauty of digital. You would know the person.
Yeah.
You'd know his IP, you would know his email ID, you can reach out to them. That is something which is definitely not possible in any of the newspaper advertising or TV advertising. What has been enabled now beautifully is the CTV advertising now, and the programmatic buys, which combined with CTV advertising can help you reach the right sort of customer. So that's something which can only happen in digital, not on any other platforms, like be it radio or newspaper and TV as well. CTV advertising has gone to foray, and it helps you have so many targeting options, so many targeting cohorts, male, female, region targeting, like a specific catchment if you want to grow in. Like for instance, if Flipkart delivery has launched just in Bangalore, and I would want to target a certain set people who are also captive customers for them, I can do that through CTV advertising. And if I want to target people who are an engaged user with a certain brand, I can have a hash data uploaded on a programmatic platform, put a layer of interest targeting, which is which increases the affinity for the target set, and then I'd be able to get to the right sort of customer, which in any other scenario in an offline situation will not be able to happen. So that's something which is definitely there. One thing, which a lot of brands have done beautifully, be it retail or financial players, is that the online-offline integration has been done beautifully these days. So anybody who walks into a Chroma store or a Vijay Sales or any of the outlets which sells brands, they have beautiful integrations in terms of data sets and kiosks from banks and kiosks from these NBFCs sitting out there capturing your data and then reaching back to the same customers through multiple modes, but of digital only, be it notifications on your apps, be it the SMS pushes which happen, be it the ads which you see on Meta and on Google. I think that all ecosystem, that online offline integration is also very, very important, and brands have been doing it beautifully. The ones who are mature enough in their consumer journeys have done that beautifully and have reaped benefits out of that as well. So that's something which we definitely know. Of course, if you're doing offline and if you want to do some activations in and around areas which are on offline retail points, people do that through say newspaper or otherwise, but beyond that I don't think so much can happen. But in case of digital, I can do a pin targeting on a certain pin code in and around area to make sure that I have good footfalls going into a certain brand store, and that's something which can only happen on digital and through digital tools. And there are like various tools in the market currently as well, like this Mo Engage, Web Engage, who would help you do that, and there are certain technologies like Criteo and all which help you target a certain target set, remarket to them, create a set of content journey for them, and reach out to them again and again so that they are top of mind, either through SMS, either through WhatsApp, or either through meta journeys as well. Because not every day would you look at an SMS or you'll go to a publishing site to do that, but every day people would go on a YouTube, people would go on a Meta, people would go on a certain third party platform where the entire consumer journey is. So these tools will definitely help and do definitely help in terms of tracking that specific person, hyper personalizing them. And since we said that, in the previous question, that we are customizing the communication for each one of them, I can specifically give them a message meant exactly for him, be it like if he's a person, he does not know the brand, or he's a prospect customer, knows about the category, does not know about the brand, or he's a brand native, that he has consumed the brand earlier. So I can create a customized communication for each one of them, use the digital tools to target specific people.
Yeah. So earlier you had mentioned that you take the customer's data, you hash it for the security and compliance, and you can push that to programmatics and various platforms like Facebook and Google as well, right? So we have one product in Strique pipeline which will come up in future. So what it does is that basically, like whenever, let's say if you are creating lead generation campaigns for your real estate brand, and let's say you're using Salesforce. So we are thinking, I just wanted to get a feedback on this feature and how important it might be, and you can be as candid as about it. So what it does is that it will connect your Salesforce, it will take the data of the leads that are qualified and that are the ones that have made the purchase, and will create a separate hash data for security and send the data to Facebook, Google and programmatics, and you can use that as an audience. Meanwhile, at the same time, all the ones which are spammy leads or the leads that are not, the ones which didn't get closed due to some reasons, and those are not the kind of people that you want to market, you can create another negative audience on your Facebook, on your Google, or on your programmatic, and the marketeers can use it, and that data gets updated live. So if you're, let's say, getting 10 clients that got closed and put it into a separate funnel, those 10 will be hashed and send it across to Facebook right away on real time.
Correct.
Does that feature or make your life as a performance marketer easier, or that is something that does not anticipate?
No, absolutely. Like this will definitely help, and something which we've been doing consistently as well. Right now, a lot of this is happening through the data and analytics team, sitting, on the client side, and, huge set of people who are into data mining, creating cohorts, creating consumer sets, looking at the consumer journeys. For instance, if somebody buys a TV, the life cycle of a TV at a particular household might be, say, 5 years. The life cycle of a washing machine might be, say, 4 years. The life cycle of a mobile phone might be 1.5 years. So all these data points kept in mind, there are huge sets of teams sitting at the client's end, doing data mining, creating cohorts, excluding certain customers who have recently bought things, and putting that data back into the systems. But that's like a lot of it is a manual process as well. It is not all automated, and I think enablement of all this might really, really help. If because certain categories like finance and certain other categories also, because data is very, very important. If all the compliances are in place and all the security standards and privacy standards are met for the brand, if this can be automated in terms of data mining and creating those cohorts and sending the data in a hashed manner back into the system, it will really, really help the bigger brands crack the code in terms of getting better conversions, getting a better top of mind recall, and creating a big mid funnel as well for all of them.
Okay, that is good to know.
Yeah.
Now coming back to another question, how much do you think? So basically, this product that we are planning to create, do you think that the product would be suitable for an agency or that would be suitable for a brand? Like that makes the life of brand easier or agency or both? And if yes, what would be the amount they are willing to pay to in order to facilitate this functionality?
See, I think the way we function, we work with multiple brands, and if something which can help us augment what we do in terms of our recommendations to the clients, in terms of, because see, at the end of the day, it is us who'd be setting the standards.
Yeah.
It is be us who'll be setting that what is the cost per acquisition which we require out of something. It is, or maybe a certain tonality of the brand as well, because see, AI engines can help us augment what we feed into things. Like AI can tell me what ad copy to write, but does it tell me that if it is abiding by the standards of a certain brand guideline of a certain brand? I think that's still something which would be a learning mechanism for AI. And if I set up a hub for myself for a certain brand, the AI will learn and reach a situation where it's able to give me something which is in a tonality of a certain brand as well. So manual intervention definitely is required to condition what is there on AI. But once that's done, once that conditioning of AI
Fine-tuning
of AI is done, I think it should be in place and it should be able to recommend things which are very, very pertinent to a brand in terms of having the communication in place and also having the end objective in place.
So coming back, what do you think about the new unconventional and quirky types of marketing that we see on social media by brands like Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, and others?
I think it's moving in the right direction, and I would also say that it's also happening in India apart from the rest of the world. What Zomato is doing and what Swiggy has been doing, for a while. I think it's been great. The recent example being Swiggy congratulating, in a sort of solidarity with. Zomato congratulating Swiggy in solidarity when they got their IPO done. It was a wonderful marketing done by the Zomato team, and I think it's very, very warm and people resonate with it. And hats off to the entire team, and especially to Dipinder Goyal for doing like new and innovative sort of marketing. And I remember they did something with Samay Raina on in which they had a roast of Zomato, in which he wore a Swiggy t-shirt and went out there and spoke about it. And for a brand to have the audacity to mock themselves on certain things, I think it's wonderful, and it's very, very fresh as well. And it is something which is very welcome by not only the marketers but also the customers. The way the thought process is, they're thinking like humans.
Exactly.
Everybody can make mistakes.
Yes.
You should maybe appreciate your competitor. Be like a person, not like a brand, but be like a person. Accepting modestly, like if you've done something wrong, and appreciating others for something which they have done right. Another thing, which I think was a great pivot by Zomato was that, when Dipinder was a part of Shark Tank, for the entire season. And then next onwards, Swiggy took over, I think, the sponsorship.
And he was forced to removed.
And he was removed, from whatever was happening. And the way the pivot happened for them, in which that he became a part of one of the episodes on Netflix, which is bigger than probably like in terms of the reach and globally the reach, and they came on the Kapil Sharma Netflix show. And I think that's very, very fresh in terms of mindset and thinking, the way they've approached things. And one very, very, very recent innovation which they did, that the food which has to be delivered in and around you, and if somebody does not want that after
You
a
can
certain
cancel
point
it
in
and
time, they can cancel it, and people in the vicinity will be shown all those options with a time limit and all, and they crowdsource certain ideas after that
Yeah.
some of the customers came up and said that if it's in the vicinity of 500 meters, you need not cancel it. And there's certain caveats which were crowdsourced from the customers who think they are a part of the Zomato family. And
Exactly.
I think that's a wonderful way of driving an organization, making it more in the hands of the public than something which is only a one-way communication. And I think that's what they've done beautifully well. And kudos to both the teams for driving this.
I think basically like what we have been traditioned is that especially the corporates, the MNCs, they try to portray it as a very, very formal thing. All the communication starts with we respect that, we do that. Any social or economic issue happens, they say we are there to support that. And I think Zomato and Swiggy especially, they try to add that human factor to it, that we are also humans. We also post things. We also comment things. We are people, especially led by Deepinder and the CEO of Swiggy. So that was one thing that made them humans.
So I also have a point here. While this is wonderful marketing and all, but it can't happen, in a different category. Be it like say in finance, there's so many compliances and otherwise. You would not, try to do that. You would want to stay true to, who you are. You try to give a solution approach to the problem and then stay at it, because personally I think that it's very difficult to do it in a financial category. It is possible in categories which are massy, which is like an everyday thing, a part of your lifestyle.
Yes.
And not with somebody which is more of like a slightly serious category, maybe more user centric, trying to help out the user like that, like in terms of finance, be it insurance and otherwise. You can't be insensitive in terms of your communication, get in comedians and do that. So definitely they're lucky to be in the category, both Zomato and Swiggy, that they can explore the veracity of the emotions of public. Also, sometimes you need to do a certain self-deprecating humor as well. They have the liberty to do that in the category, and they are like more than big enough to do that. They're not at a stage where they're like still in a very nascent stage of their growth and cannot afford to mar their or tarnish their image. And it's almost like that. We say it in a common like notional parlance. I don't know if you could put that here, but it's too big with wala jo situation that they're too big to, it's too big with, and you can't really and I personally believe that the category has played a very, very important role in all of that.
Exactly. Like if it was something like insurance services,
you can do
or
that.
Then that would require some sort of formal approach to that. If it's D2C, then if I want more and more people who are sitting at the roadshow who can use my product, then it would be a good idea for me to get over there. But if not, then there is no point of me being there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have you? So this is out of the context. I don't know if you are aware about this or not, but there is something called as negative marketing. So there is this page of this airlines called as Ryanair. I don't know if you have seen them or not, but they specialize in negative marketing. They go out there and they have their only one USP, that is we are the cheapest of everything. If you want to go from Portugal to Spain, we can get you for as low as 20 euros, 30 euros, 40 euros. That's the cost. That's cheaper than train. So people who out there, and so basically they make reels about it, saying that how cheap we are. And if someone goes out there and puts a tweet or post something that you don't even have a window seat, they go out there and they publicly mock that guy.
Yeah.
saying that this is what we do. We are cheap. We are not here to give you services. We are not here to do anything. We are just here to take you from point A to point B, and that has been our sole purpose. We'll go out, we mock you, we'll mock our customers, we'll do anything and everything. And so far, it has worked out really well for them. I don't know how risky or the marketing guy who's sitting at Ryanair might have taken such a big shot, or what it requires to convince the directors to go ahead in this approach. But this was like the biggest risk that they have taken. So far, I haven't seen anyone in the Indian brands doing that, saying that if someone posts around Swiggy saying that my order didn't got received, Swiggy will say, "तो हम क्या करें? What are we supposed to do if the food is not good? The restaurant is supposed to take care of that. What are we supposed to do?"
See, if you
Something like that.
I'll
Could
try
be
to
risky.
answer that. I was going through one of the interviews, I think of Ryanair CEO, and
Yeah.
he said that if it's up to me, I'd charge people for using the washroom on the
Yes.
flights as well. And I found it very funny though.
Yeah.
But given that people choose Ryanair only for the cheap fares and flights, and as something which is like a utility and not a luxury, I think they can afford to do that. Maybe like Ryanair, has a lion's share in the market, in the space, and as I said that they're too big at that point in time, in a specific catchment or a geography. And they also know from customers that people choose them because of the fares,
Exactly.
because of the value of fares and all. And to be out there and tom about the USP which they have, which is cheap flight fares, I don't think so it's wrong. It's being very, very honest to the customer. You don't need to be, very blatant about it like that and, talk about it. But even if they're doing it, I don't think so it'll mar their market. It's only establishing the fact that they're a cheap fare flight option, and people and day-to-day people would choose to do that, because the set of customers who do luxury travel and otherwise are slightly limited. Not everybody has a lot of money. People do want options in which they can travel, like on cheap fare flights. People take out holidays, gather all the money to fly to multiple places, do tourism, evolve more by meeting more people. I think, and if it can happen at a cheaper fare, I think it definitely helps. And similar is the situation, when Deccan Air also launched, the mindset behind it was that everybody should be flying. If everybody should be flying, they can't take care of everything. And if you have to fly cheap, you'll not get everything. You'll not be like a Vistara all the time when it launched. You'll not be, like the Emirates, the way it is. If you want to fly cheap, you need to compromise with certain things, which I think is fair. And if people are charging for a window seat, and if people are charging for an aisle seat, I don't think so it's wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Even there was this interview on Saturday Night Live in US of Ryanair CEO. He said that if I have the option, I would take the last 3 rows of the seats and attach harness to it so that people can stand over there.
Because it's a 2-hour thing. People
Yeah.
stand in metros and,
Exactly.
go wherever they go. People stand in buses also at times. So why not? Like, if it can help more and more people travel at a cheaper price, you might charge like 2,000 rupees less for or a,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
couple of dollars less for traveling. Why not do it?
So on paper, that sounds like a really, really bad idea. I don't know how safe that it is in terms of turbulence or anything. But he said that if I'm able to do that, and if I get the compliance and everything right, I can guarantee you those seats will get fill up faster, because that standing position, the cost is less than 10 euros.
Yeah.
So it's like if you are paying less than 10 euros to go from place A to place B, then that's okay. People are going to pay for that,
Sure,
because that is
sure.
something which is very, very cheap.
Sure.
Again, so that is I think that the product itself or the service is the main USP is cheapness. That's it. Getting
Absolutely.
from point A to point B.
Sure.
So the next question that I had was the founders being the face of the organization. Like we have Nikhil Kamath from Zerodha, who basically actively goes out there to make podcasts. You have different people like me, like who are the founders who are sitting around and doing the podcast. What do you think? How important it is to be for a brand to have a face attached to it, especially when it's so we'll categorize it into 2 sections. One is the D2C, like Swiggy, Zomato, Blinkit, and the ones which are required by customers. by D2C consumers, and you have other B2B clients in BFSI or insurance or real estate or anything like that?
See, I think it's very, very important because, if like, be it a brand, be it, like you being the co-founder of a certain brand, I think it is very important for people, your customers and the end customers to, know what your mindset is. Are you unabashed about something? Do you believe in a certain value system? Do you believe in providing value to your customers and the way you want to do it as well? All this becomes a very important part of being the founder of the company. How are you disposed towards the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis? Maybe the guard working in your office or your employees, or is their well-being important to you? Or the environment in and around, is important to you, and how are you navigating through the regular travails of the everyday life? I think that's very, very important from a mindset perspective. Like, for instance, if somebody is taking care of their own well-being, their sleep cycle, they're investing their time in maybe a cycling or walking, things which are not directly attributable to the business, but more and more to yourself and your own well-being as well. And that's what will reflect eventually on your business as well. If you're putting and taking care of yourselves, the people around you, what you think about, all that has a direct reflection on the entire business as well. On the employees you work with, their mindset changes because of that. Your customers as well, like if they associate with you at an emotional level, at a level of thinking, and are able to associate that he's thinking what I think, that's the connection which the customers want, that's the connection which the brand wants. And I think that's what goes a long way. Like, if, for instance, as a owner of a digital organization, digital consultancy, if my customers, say the CMOs, know that I am more disposed towards the business objectives and not only the marketing objectives, that's where I bring home the entire conversation, that I'm not looking for your marketing monies. I'm looking for your business to thrive, because if your business thrives, that's when my business will grow. And it is not always about marketing spends. It is about the efficiencies which you get from the marketing spends. That's the end objective for any customer out there. So if my customers are able to realize that my mindset is not to make them only spend, but to give them more value, I think that's something which is very, very important. And which is why me being the spokesperson or you being the spokesperson of your brand is very, very important. That mindset is very important. I'm not here to do my targets. I'm here to help a certain brand grow, not only like on media, but otherwise as well, in setting the tonality right for that brand. And I think which is why it is very, very important that I speak the language of the brand I represent.
So the next question is, the short form video content is considered to be the key thing now. So all the reels on Instagram, YouTube shorts on there. So how is it that the brands are should the brands even focus on that? And how do you make sure that your content is engaging enough so that the attention span is getting shorter and shorter, so people prefer to use a 10-second reel rather than a 60-second reel? How do you go about that?
I think the short form video works really well. My personal belief is that the attention spans are going down. And if it's an interesting piece of information I'm able to gather in 10 seconds, I would really want to do something like that. Those 10 seconds with a familiar face, more so like from a point of view that if I have an influencer, which somebody resonates, like a gamut of people resonate with, and if he or she is talking about that brand, the customers really resonate with it very well. And which is what we talk about these days about branded ads.
Yeah.
A brand talking about itself, like keep tom-tomming about itself, about the USPs and other things, as opposed to say an influencer or a celebrity, being out there talking about the brand and endorsing it, from a regular perspective. I recently saw ad of Good Bug. Good Bug is for gut health, and
I've seen that.
And I saw Hrithik Roshan saying that him and his family has been using Good Bug on a regular basis, And I think that's a testimony of a thing which people want. They don't want that why don't you use good bug and it is really good, but somebody endorsing that me and my family is using it and it's really helping me. I think that's something which people want to hear. The honesty about it, I think, is very, very important. And I'll also quote an example that we were working with one of the brands called Talking Tom and Friends. It's an app. We were doing app downloads for it, and we were getting, say, a cost per download of $0.5 earlier, like when we were just putting the brand out there and asking people to download it. What we did was, at the same time, we used a couple of influencers. We also used Shilpa Shetty, as one of the faces of the brands for a brief period of 3 months, asked her for the rights to use it for the media, and 3 months for that. And when we used that, because, say, Shilpa Shetty is renowned around the world, like an actress, and she's been all across the globe. She's been to US for her show, which is very similar to Big Boss as well, and has a global appeal. Using her in the ad actually reduced the cost per install and the activity by almost 5-fold. We got downloads for $0.1 as opposed to $0.5, and that's the level which is there. Using influencers in short form videos, I think, really, really help. People's attention span have gone down, so the impact is really created if it's a familiar face, if it's a short ad, and people act on it because they're influenced.
So if you have the budget, would you go with 10 micro celebrities or would you go with one big celebrity?
I will not choose one.
You will go with 10 other faces.
No, so I will not choose one of the options, is what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying is that I might use one of the celebrities, but I'll also use those 10 other celebrities as a surround sound, because, people have different followership. You have tools, AI tools. We have a tool called Armfluence, through which we're able to gauge the regions, the psychographics, demographics of individuals who follow a certain influencer. And that's what helps us define the TG which we are trying to target. I might have a super celebrity who has a maximum amount of reach, but I would also have those niche celebrities very relevant to the business which I'm doing. Like if it's a fashion brand, I might have a celebrity who's like the brand ambassador, but I would also want to have those 10 other, 20 other fashion influencers who have separate followerships to have that surround sound reach to the niche sort of customer. Maybe somebody who's very famous as a local celebrity in Maharashtra, or a local celebrity, based out of Bangalore, and a local celebrity probably out of Hyderabad, to reach that, create that influence in the local catchments, which provides a surround sound to the massive countrywide reach which you can get from a super celebrity somewhere.
Let's to end this podcast. I have few questions called as rapid fire round.
Sure.
And you have to give me answer in 1 sentence or less.
Sure.
And the thinking time is less than 2 seconds.
All right. I'll
Okay.
try to answer that.
Which platform gives you the best ROI for B2B marketing?
For B2B marketing, Google and
Google.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Google and LinkedIn. Memes or storytelling, which is your go-to contact form for brand building?
Storytelling through memes.
Storytelling through memes. Nice. Email marketing or WhatsApp broadcast?
I think both have not reached a maturity stage like that. Email marketing for captive audience for sure. WhatsApp also has gained a huge ground because of relevance it builds from the targeting options provided by Meta.
Okay. PR or influencer marketing?
Both put together.
Both put together. PR as in the traditional PR, the ones which go with the news publications.
I will not discard it because it really, really helps gain a massive reach. And push PR is also important. Something which gets published on a Times of India can be put on my Instagram in Meta and promoted to my audience, which people use as something which is like a approval of a brand which they're following.
Okay. Meta ads or Google ads?
Both have different objectives. I'd not be able to choose one of them.
Remarketing or cold targeting?
I think remarketing is definitely more gives a better ROI, but I would never say the other one was cold targeting.
Cold targeting, basically cold outreach.
Not really cold outreach. I think an informed decision always is better than and something which is spray and pray sort of a situation.
Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you so much, Manas.
Great.
It was really amazing to meet you, to get the insights out of you and all those discussions that we had.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you.
Yeah.